about wealth. And Dajjal will give these people the honor. This is what you're striving for. Go ahead. Right? You're hungry for name and you're hungry for power. That's what it is. You see, the man in this story here, I'll get to it before I forget. Something, my brain works a bit. And today I had 1 cup of coffee after 21 days. So the caffeine has really hit me. Right? 1 cup before, but the caffeine shot me. I can feel myself like that. See, I forgot what I was going to say now. Huh? Yeah, the story of the 2 men. I still forgot. Yeah, the story of the 2 men is the very same story here. The man who had all of this wealth, right? He thought that his life will be better. And life is better because of wealth and because of power. And you and I also feel somewhere deep down that life is better because of wealth and because of power. Am I right? If you have power, even if you don't have the wealth, you can still lord over people. How rich is Pope Francis? Okay, he's living in the Vatican, which is a private country on its own, right? But it's not like his money. You understand, Pope Francis, right? How wealthy is he? I don't think he has so much of bucks. Okay, fakir, like a pope, but he's a pope, right? But power, too much, and that corrupts. And how much of money does Bill Gates have? Plenty. Power, not much, comparatively, right? But his wealth makes him powerful, and this man's power makes him wealthy. And people misuse it like that. Do you know that? People use wealth for power. Like, what's his name? That guy with the big man, he's going to become the next president? Donald Trump. Right? Donald Trump. He uses his wealth for power. Right? And people use their power, whether it is spiritual, religious, or political power, for wealth. Ask any politician, show me a politician who's poor. Show me a so-called religious leader or community leader, in a general sense, there, who has power like this one here, who's living in poverty. No. So what did this man think? That life is better with wealth and power. And this is where the stark contrast in terms of the Quranic narrative comes in terms of the man who he is addressing, and he's lording over and he's boasting about his wealth, he's boasting about his power, and the number of followers that he has and so on there, which gives him the power. And another verse that he says about his children, right? Which is also a form of one's wealth and one's acquisitions, right? So carry on. وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ.
And he entered in his garden while roaming his soul.
See, very critical. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, this man is taking the poor man to show him his wealth, and to show him all of his achievements, and to show him the signs of his success, which was his garden. And when he says the man entered that garden, وَدَخَلَ جَنَّتَهُ وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ, in a condition wherein he was wronging himself. He was causing harm to himself. He had already been internally corrupted. Outside, everything was hunky-dory. I've got the name, I've got the fame, I've got the power, I've got people working for me, I've got, I've got wealth, I've got this, I've got all of this. But internally, the man was completely bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt. And this is how we are today. Those people that we regard as symbols of success, maybe because they are in the, in the movie industry, or in the sports industry, or in the clothing industry, or in business, or in politics, or in religion, or this and that, or whatever it is there. Right? If you do a critical analysis of their lives in terms of the Quranic perspective on success, you will see these people are leading some of the most spiritually bankrupt lives. Right? These high rollers that you get working in Wall Street and so on there, just to give themselves a high. Do you know how many of them had this cocaine-filled and heroin-filled booze parties and sessions and everything there, just to give them that? I think it's crack that gives you a bit of a, like it keeps you like going all manic, right? And I think heroin makes you a bit sleepy. I haven't tested them, but that's what I mean. You understand? Right? Amphetamines, and I don't know what they call those things. Right, Doc? Amphetamines, right? Right? Have you seen how these people live? Spiritually, they are empty people. Now, contrary to the way you and I live currently, wherein we also feel somewhere down there that life is better because of wealth or power, or wealth and power, right? Quran says here, this man entered there with all of the trappings of the dunya, with all the signs of prosperity, with all the signs of abundance, in a condition when he had become morally and spiritually corrupt. Destroyed. وَهُوَ ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. And he was the cause of his own destruction. ظَالِمٌ لِنَفْسِهِ. Carry on.
He said, I do not think that it will ever perish.
This is the core of the disease of the corruption of the heart. When a man is so deluded by this fool's gold, this fantasy world out there, يَحْسَبُ أَنَّ مَالَهُ أَخْلَدَ. When people are convinced and start to believe that their wealth is eternal and their wealth will enable them to live eternally. You see, I'm wealthy, I can do whatever I want to. The moment you reach that depth of spiritual corruption, when you think that whatever you have, especially if you have the wealth and the power, will never end, know and come to realize, and if you know people that try and advise them by, you've reached the bottom of the barrel. Right? Your corruption is complete now. You've perfected corruption. You are perfect in your corruption. Right? قَالَ مَا أَظُنُّ أَن تَبِيدَ هَذِهِ أَبَدًا. Right? He said, I don't think this will ever perish. And this is the biggest problem with the world. Alexander the Great, Sikandar Zulqarnain, not Alexander the Great. Sikandar Zulqarnain is not Alexander the Great. Anyway, Sikandar Zulqarnain, when he passed away, he is not Alexander the Great, by the way. Sikandar Zulqarnain, when he passed away, he gave a wasiyah. He said, please, when I die and my body is being paraded through the streets before I'm buried there, ensure that my hands are out of my coffin. So the people ask him, but why? He says, so people must learn a lesson from my death. That Sikandar Zulqarnain, who ruled half the world, when he left the dunya, he also left this world empty-handed. He never took anything with him. Right? And the greatest example of these people who think that their wealth will abide eternally, you're going to see the signs of those people, قُرْسِيلُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ, travel in the earth, فَانْظُرُوا and see, كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الْمُكَذِّبِينَ. What was the outcome of the people who belied Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Go to Egypt. Go to Egypt. Go to China. What dynasty was it? Tang dynasty, Qing dynasty, whatever it is there. Huh? Ming dynasty. Right? In Egypt, these guys built all these big mazars for themselves. The pyramids. Right? And they were buried in the pyramid. Not on earth. They were buried in the pyramid. With them they buried what? Their slaves, their wives. With them they buried what? Their honey. You know that the honey never went off after so many thousand years, because that's honey for you, right? Honey. With them they buried all their gold and their silver, right? Then in the Ming dynasty, now they just unearthed it recently, when this guy is standing with an army of clay soldiers, right? They're still unearthing that thing in China, when he believed that, in the afterlife, I'll have all of these people here, because all my wealth is going to abide. So when I reach the next world out there, even in that world I'll have my wealth, I'll have my power, it's going to come with me. He actually built a whole group. Have you seen that? It's fascinating. I saw it on National Geographic some years ago, right? And where they showed these people unearthing, they are still in that same position, with the soldiers and everything, they made out of clay and whatever it is. What is this? قَالَ مَا أَظُنُّ أَن تَبِيدَ هَذِهِ أَبَدًا. That this will never ever perish. I remember we did Ozymandias in school. The poem Ozymandias. Right? No. There's two. One was turning and turning in the widening gyre. That's another story, that is. Right? The falcon can't hear the falconer and so on and blah 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 blah. And then what you call it? Something else is they say something is unleashed onto the world and whatever it is. That was a very good one. And Ozymandias, when the guy is walking in the desert and he sees the broken down statue of Ozymandias, and his footprints, something were left. And he says, look, where is it? Where is that one? Really? The Pharaoh, the pyramids, I don't like to go inside. I went into Egypt many years ago. You go inside pyramids? I said, no, Baba, I don't want to go. Why? Idiots, it's a place of azab. It's a place of azab. It's a grave. You don't go inside a place of azab. I see I put all of you off from going to Egypt. Right? Okay, carry on.
And I don't think that the hour will ever come, and even if I am returned to my Lord, then I shall surely get a better place of return than this garden.
You see, the greatest delusion is wherein you feel that this is always going to be there, it's perpetual, it's eternal. And the second thing is, what does he say there? That I'm going to get something even better. I'm going to get something even better. And if this world doesn't come to an end, then the person feels that I've done enough good out here, that if there is a life in the hereafter, then I'm entitled to it in the hereafter, because I was entitled to it in the dunya. And this is the disease, this is the corruption of the heart, wherein people have a sense of entitlement without having achieved anything. And that's a corruption that is affecting our children today. The disease of entitlement. I am entitled to, this is my haq, this is my right. The disease of entitlement has crept into our community like you can't believe. Parents have this duty towards us, and we have nothing towards them. We have a sense of entitlement. When you have a right to do this, you have the, what is this? I have a right to a better life. I have a right to this one here. I have a right to this one here. Nothing is earned. Everything must be provided. And those people who have this attitude of entitlement, wallahi, I've seen it so many times. People who have perpetuated in this mentality of entitlement, they eventually are destroyed. Hard work never killed anybody. And the thing that is the biggest error parents are making in this day and age, right, is to spoil their kids to such a level wherein children feel entitled, right, and to break away from that cycle of misery, of entitlement, right? Some people just can't handle it. We're not doing our children any favors. And the other thing is, live in this world, own your life, do whatever you want to do. This is all that there is. Right? And no, even in the hereafter too, we lived a great life out there. Don't worry, that day is sorted out as well. A man came to Sayyidina Ali karamullah ta'ala wajhul kareem, right? And he had the same attitude that there is no life after death, there is no hereafter, there is no qayamat, there is no hashar, there is no nashar, there is no jannah, there is no jahannam. Right? Modern secularist and materialist philosophers subscribe to the same ideology, that life on this earth is the only life that you have there. There is no guarantee of life after death or anything of that. So that's modern secularist philosophy, right? So he came to Sayyidina Ali. They said, "Oh Ali, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, right? What if all the striving, all the hard work, all the effort, all the discipline, all the worship, all that you do in order to attain the hereafter and attain the rewards of the hereafter and paradise and so on there, what if all of this was a lie? And you wasted your time praying, worshipping, tawbah, repentance, this, that, right? When you could have spent it enjoying life, amusement, leisure, pleasure, right? There's no hereafter, there's no akhirah, there's no jannat, there's no jahannam, there's no hisab, there's no kitab, no nothing. What would you have got out of this life?" Hazrat Ali radiallahu ta'ala looked at him, he says, "You are right. I would have got nothing out of this life. I would have lost in terms of the enjoyment of the dunya. But I have one consolation. The life in this world, as far as you and I know, in terms of lifespan, is about 60, 70 years of age, and thereafter, it comes to an end." Then Hazrat Ali turned and told him, he said, "What if what I believed in, which is qayamat, qabr, hashar, nashar, hisab, kitab, jannat, jahannam, is all true, and there is eternal life, where would you be? Where would you be? Mine is a short-term loss of 70 odd years. Yours is an eternal loss. Khalidina fiha abada." So he asked him, who's taking the greater gamble? Who's taking the greater gamble? That's the question you and I have to ask ourselves. Yeah, we believe in it. We believe in it. But are we living in it? Living for it? We're living in the dunya for the dunya. We are living in the dunya for the dunya, when in reality we should be living in the dunya for the akhirah. And more important than that, we should be living in the dunya for Allah. That's the highest level. You understand? Can you?
His companion replied,
No. Listen to the companion's reply. And this is the unique system of Islam and the Islamic lifestyle. You and I are ashamed to be poor. You and I, normally, not, you know what I'm talking about. We are ashamed to be poor. We feel that life is better with wealth and power. But the Muslim mind, the Quranic mind, the Quranic way of thinking doesn't despise poverty. The Quran and a simple life, the Quranic mind and the Quranic way of thinking embraces simplicity and not luxury. And that's the prophetic way. The Sahaba Kiram embraced simplicity. They did not embrace luxury. If they had the money as well, they would voluntarily embrace spirituality and shun luxury. Right? Now listen to this man's attitude and tell me which Muslim has this attitude in terms of his life in the dunya. You and I are always seeking, right, comfort. We're always seeking prosperity. We're always seeking luxury. We're always seeking abundance. We don't want to go without food. We don't want to go without, with difficult times. We don't want to undergo some type of problems in the world. We want a comfortable life. We want Jannat on planet Earth. Now look at the way the Quranic mind thinks and the Quranic paradigm. An example is there. Give it, carry on.
His companion replied to him while arguing with him, "Do you disbelieve in him who created you from dust, then from a purified drop of water, then made you a right man?"
Right, wait. Right? The man now, the poor man, rich man gave his answers. I'm great because of my wealth. I'm great because of my number of followers and people that I network with, and by virtue of my children. These are my achievements, and that's what makes my life better. Wealth and power. Now listen to the answers of this man. Read it one more time, slowly.
His companion replied to him while arguing with him, "Do you disbelieve in him who created you from dust, then from a purified drop of water, then made you a right man?"
Right, stop right there. Do you disbelieve in him who created you from dust? All of us who are deluded by our own power and our own achievements and our own success and deluded by our own egos as to how great we are. You know, we have delusions of grandeur. Ask yourself, what role you had in being born? Anybody? Did you choose your genetics by any chance? This is my gene, this is my allele here, this is it, this one here, no, adjust this one here a little bit here, I need a better nose, this and that. Anybody? Did you have any choice at when, how, and to whom you would be born? When, how, to whom? No. Which country? No. What time? No. Do you have any idea? No. Nothing. Did you have a choice in your name that was given to you? No. Did Jibreel come from the heaven and say, "Hey, excuse me, call this person so and so"? No. Right? Nothing. Quran says, "Hal ata." Surah Al-Dahr, "Hal ata ala al-insani hinun min ad-dahri lam yakun shay'an madhkura." Has not a time come upon man when he was something not even worthy of mention in the small of your father's back? Did you realize how insignificant you were? Can't even be seen in a microscope, right? You're just one little swimmer in the presence of maybe millions of them. Literally speaking. Insignificant. Nutfa. Insignificant. That's how insignificant you were. And that insignificant nobody that was created and sustained and cherished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is still in absolute control of every organ in your body. Right now you don't have willful control over your pancreas. Do you? It's an autonomous system. It's running on its own. Allah got his own system running inside there. You in control of that? Can you control your pancreas? No. Can you control your kidneys? No. Can you control your liver? No. Can you control your heart? No. Anything in control of? No. What are you exulting over? What are you exulting over? Imam al-Ghazali, I don't use the normal example that I normally use, I'll use another example. Imam al-Ghazali says, man thinks he's so powerful. Right? But if he's stung by a bee, with a little bee like that there, he gets into so much of pain and he screams so much like, oh my word. Yet he was stung by a B, and it creates such a thing there. One tiny virus that you and I can't see except through a microscope there, which is called a flu virus, affects us there, and we break up into sweats and body pains and temperature and this and that. Can't control it. Have you ever even seen the virus? No. But look at the impact that it had on you, and it debilitates you. Something so small debilitates you. Right? Right? It debilitates you. Right? This brain that you and I, right, are so proud of. You know what? I have such thinking faculties, and I'm an intellectual, I'm an academic, and things like that. Right? One little bit of damage to that brain there, and khalas, baat khatam. Baat khatam. You know that, huh? Slightest damage. Although you got a big armor plate around the thing there, slightest damage to that brain inside there, and all your intelligence, all your akal, all your knowledge, everything went down. Bye. Gone. Gone. What power do you and I claim? That same brain that you used to think with, that you used to reason with, that made you think that you are somebody, right? Got a little bit of damaged, and baat khatam. Baat khatam. You want to deny that, Lord? Bayezid Bustami rahmatullahi ta'ala say, it shocks me that man is created so weak. He's one of the most weakest creatures Allah has created. Right? But he is so arrogant and proud that he stands up before Allah to such a point that a man and a human being reaches such a level in terms of self-glorification that he becomes a Fir'aun to himself. And he says, Ana Rabbukumul A'la. I am Lord Most High. I'll decide whatever I do. It's my life. I can make any decision that I want to. Right? No one can stop me from doing this. No one. Hey, shut up for 1 minute, please, man. You're not God. You are not God. You can't do anything. It's just this misconception of your own, of your own ego that you think you can do something. Really, you can't. Can you? I'm going to number just now.